In today's video, I'm going to be moving down the line a little bit more. As you know, this is part of a series of videos that I'm doing talking about some of the best pieces of information, the greatest little nuggets and pieces of wisdom that I've found over my last couple of years experimenting and doing YouTube, trying it out. We're going to get moving with another one today. Let's get cranking. Sorry, my seasonal allergies are just kicking in with the weather changes we've been having. We've gone from really hot and dry to now we've had a little bit of rain and it's cooled off, and then we're moving back into hot again. In any event, hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to try and help your game, hopefully. And before we get started, if this is the first time you've watched any of my content, I'll give you a little recap. I'm working on a series now. I've been in the YouTube game for a little over 2 years doing this golf channel called Golf Test Dummy, where I make myself your personal little pincushion, where I experiment with my own self, my own body, my own game, and I ruin it to try and come up with some of the better stuff to help you guys out, maybe so that you don't have to ruin your game like mine. And in doing so, this little bit of video, let's try that one again. So lately in some of these videos, I've been trying to take some of the best little nuggets of wisdom that I've had along the way, some of the things that I find the most value in, the simplest things that relate to us amateur average golfers, us people that are struggling to find some sort of consistency and lower scores without having to dedicate our lives to just grinding it out like some kind of tour pro. So with that being said, what's on tap for today? Well, I'm going to go back to something that's pretty old, and it actually goes back much further for me than just this YouTube channel. It's something that I came across maybe, God, I don't know, possibly 20 years ago. Maybe even longer. Something that I learned from a guy named David Lee and his system of golf, his videotapes, his series came out years ago back in, I believe, the 90s, called Gravity Golf. Now again, we're not working on the entire system here. We're not gonna sit here and do a review of Gravity Golf. I just wanna talk about the number one takeaway that I had from David Lee in his series, Gravity Golf. The number one thing that I would like to present in this series is the kill concept and how that destroys most golfers and how we can avoid it. Now, the reason that I'm doing this today is because it kind of dovetails in. It's like a nice transition from the Flow Motion Zen Golf video that I did last week talking about the number one thing there, which is swing as you walk. And during my Flow Motion Zen Golf review, I had a session on the range. You can go back and watch that video where the thumbnail has the actual title, The Kill Concept, on it. The words that he used, the kill concept. I mean, it really just embodies and represents everything that it should in just those three words, and how awful, how detrimental that can be to our games. And we have this misunderstanding of power and distance and speed, and we put far too much effort and far too much, I guess, just aggression into hitting the golf ball. So that's what I'm going to talk about here today. Let's get started. I've got an 8-iron in my hands. With this 8-iron, you say, Chad, what do you hit your 8-iron? Well, I can tell you right off of the bat that this is about a 165-yard club for me. On average, all things being equal in just a controlled environment, let's say, it's about a 165-yard club for me. Now, when I step up and I've got a shot coming into a green from the fairway, from the rough, whatever, I've got an ultimate goal. I know that I don't want to go 170. I know that I don't want to go 180. I've got a finite yardage in mind with this iron. So if I had 162 yards, and you know it was pretty normal conditions and nothing crazy, I'm probably pulling the 8-iron, and I'm going to step up and I'm going to think about, I want to hit that 172 mark, right? And then I'm going to make my swing. So with your irons and shots out of the fairway, you've got a distance, you've got a goal in mind. What happens when I put a driver in my hand and I'm stepping out on the tee of a par 5? All right. We've got a 528-yard par 5. I've got driver in hand. It's wide open out there. It's wide open. I want to play a draw because I really want to get some distance out of this ball. I'm going to play a draw so I can get some run out of it. Okay, let's step up and smack this driver right there. What's the difference? What's the difference? The difference is that most of us, not all of us, but most of us are thinking nothing at all about the yardage that we're aiming for. 8-iron in hand, I'm trying to go 162. Driver in hand, well, let's just see how far we can get it to go out there, shall we? Normally I hit it 240, I'll take 300, right? How many times, if you think back, how many times have you had a specific yardage in mind for your driver where you step up and you say, okay, par 4, 400 yards, I would like to be 255 down the left side. That will leave me about 145 to 150 yards coming in. From there, I can pull a 9-iron. Okay, 9-iron into this green, I can hit that green 7 out of 10 times, right? So let's hit this driver 255, which is pretty much what I average. How many times are you thinking that? How many times does that come across your mind? No. When we get the driver in hand and I said, hey, how far are you going to hit this? You're going to go, I'm going to try and hit it 300 yards. Do you hit it 300 yards? No, I certainly don't. So when you step up to hit a driver, the kill concept is even more engaged, because if I stepped up with this 8-iron with the same thought and I took that same mentality and I said, okay, I've got 200 yards left into this green, I'm going to hit this 8-iron. Do I normally hit 8-iron that far? No, but I'm just going to hit it as hard as I can. If I hit it really hard, you know, let's see. I'll try it. Go after it. You wouldn't do that. You'd never do that. But we do it with driver, so with driver, the kill concept is even more reinforced. And more times than not, it gets me into trouble off of the tee because I have not been employing a distance strategy on it to curb the kill concept with the driver. It's probably one of the reasons that for the last 2 months, I've been struggling mightily to try and get some sort of consistency out of the driver. Meanwhile, my irons have gotten more consistent than they've ever been because I'm playing to a specific yardage with these. I'm not trying to kill it. I'm trying to be surgical. I'm trying to be surgical with these irons. I want them to have the right shot shape and flight, and more importantly, I want them to have a specific distance. And the distances that I choose are not overly ambitious. If I know that I average 165 with an 8-iron, and I pull the 8-iron, and I'm going to hit the 8-iron, I don't have to kill it. I don't have to kill it. I can play my normal stock 8-iron shot and be really comfortable and smooth and not try to tear the cover off the golf ball. If I can learn to apply that to my driver and think, I average 240 with my driver, let's say. All right, 240 with the driver. That's going to put me down here. 240 is about 20 yards short of that bunker down the left-hand side. So let's do that. Let's hit it 240 there. 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to try and kill that ball. Maybe there's a brain fart here and there, but 9 times out of 10, if I hit a bad shot, it's not going to be because I tried to rip the cover off of it. I tried to play my normal stock driver with that shot. And I have a good concept of what my normal stock driver is. It kind of goes back to what I was talking about before, where with the GolfPad app, it's really given me realistic yardages. And the more and more I play with it, the more and more that data becomes accurate. It becomes more and more accurate as time goes on and gives me an even more realistic picture. There's a couple of things from this. Number one, it can really help out your driver by figuring out what kind of yardage you want to hit to and make it a realistic yardage that doesn't involve maximum effort at the golf ball. And number two, the kill concept, eliminating the kill concept from our game by having this misconception that swinging harder means swinging faster or hitting the ball further. It can actually do the exact opposite. Guys, I appreciate you watching this video. Thanks so much. If you haven't subscribed, you can feel free to do so, and then you can hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything as it's coming up. I'm trying to put out some of the best things that I feel like can help us. The best takeaways I've had from the better instructors or the people out there that I've paid attention to over the years. See you next time.